Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Proverbs 19:21. If you've ever wondered how God can take someone's worst nightmare and turn it into their greatest testimony, what you're about to hear will forever change how you see his sovereign plan. Jake Thompson was living the American dream at just 22 years old. This blonde, blue-eyed model from Orange County, California, had it all. Six-figure modeling contracts with major brands, a massive social media following, and most importantly, he had just become America's heartthrob after appearing on the hit reality show Paradise Island in the summer of 2018. The show, similar to Love Island, catapulted Jake into overnight fame. His chiseled physique, charming smile, and boy-next-door personality made him an instant sensation. Within weeks of the show's finale, he had gained 2.3 million Instagram followers and was being courted by major Hollywood talent agencies. "I felt invincible," Jake later recalled. "I had money, fame, and literally thousands of girls sliding into my DMs every day. I thought I had life figured out at 22. But Jake's plans were about to collide with God's purpose in the most devastating way imaginable. July 4th, 2019, started like any other day in Jake's new celebrity lifestyle. He had just finished a photo shoot for Men's Health magazine and was heading to a 4th of July party in the Hollywood Hills, hosted by a famous pop star. The party was everything you'd expect: celebrities, flowing champagne, and Jake soaking up every moment of his newfound fame. What happened next would shatter every dream he'd ever had. At 2:47 a.m., Jake left the party in his brand new Porsche 911, a gift to himself from his first major modeling paycheck. He was texting his manager about a potential movie audition when everything went black. Security footage later showed his car drifting across the center line on Mulholland Drive, slamming head-on into an oak tree at 65 mph. The impact was catastrophic. Jake's cervical spine was severed at the C5 vertebra. When paramedics pulled him from the wreckage, he wasn't breathing. They performed CPR for 12 minutes before getting a pulse. At Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, Dr. Sarah Martinez delivered the news that would change Jake's life forever. "Jake, you've suffered a complete spinal cord injury. You're quadriplegic. You'll never walk again, and you'll have very limited use of your arms and hands." The golden boy who had posed shirtless for magazine covers just hours earlier was now paralyzed from the chest down, dependent on others for everything from eating to breathing through a ventilator. But the darkest chapter of his story was just beginning. If story is touching your heart, please subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us share more testimonies of hope and divine transformation. Continuing, the same media that had built Jake up was now tearing him down. Paparazzi camped outside the hospital, trying to get photos of the broken heartthrob. His modeling contracts were terminated, brand deals evaporated. Most devastating of all, his fair-weather friends disappeared, and even his girlfriend of 2 years left him while he was still in intensive care. "I went from being on top of the world to literally wanting to die," Jake said. "I was 22 years old. I couldn't move anything below my chest. I needed help with everything, and I felt completely abandoned by everyone I thought cared about me." For 6 months, Jake spiraled into the deepest depression imaginable. He refused visitors, rejected physical therapy, and spent his days staring at the ceiling of his hospital room, consumed by rage and self-pity. He had gone from American heartthrob to what he saw as a broken shell of a man. It was during one of his lowest moments, while undergoing a complex surgery to implant a breathing device, that Jake experienced something that would change not only his life, but the lives of millions of others. The encounter that would redefine everything was about to happen. While under anesthesia, Jake found himself in a place he had never experienced before, standing in perfect health in a meadow of incredible beauty. The grass was greener than anything he had ever seen, and there was a peace that penetrated every fiber of his being. Walking toward him was Jesus Christ, more real and more loving than Jake had ever imagined. "Jake, my son," Jesus said, with a voice that carried both authority and infinite compassion. "Your old life is over, but your real life is just beginning." "Lord," Jake said, falling to his knees despite being able to stand in this heavenly realm, "I'm broken. I can't do anything. I'm useless." Jesus knelt beside him and placed his nail-scarred hands on Jake's face. "Jake, look at me. I never called you to be a model. I called you to be a message. Your paralysis isn't your prison. It's your platform." Then Jesus showed Jake visions that took his breath away. He saw himself in a wheelchair, but not broken, powerful. He saw himself competing in Paralympic sports, inspiring millions through social media, and speaking to packed stadiums about hope and purpose. He saw young people with disabilities looking up to him as their hero instead of pitying him as a victim. "Your accident wasn't random, Jake. I allowed it because I have a plan for you that's bigger than any modeling contract or reality show could ever be. You're going to show the world that true strength doesn't come from perfect bodies, but from surrendered hearts." The most incredible transformation in entertainment history was about to begin. When Jake woke up from surgery, something fundamental had changed. The anger was gone, replaced by an inexplicable peace and a burning sense of purpose. The first thing he did was ask for his phone, not to scroll through social media, but to delete his old Instagram account and start fresh. His new account had one simple mission: show the world that disabilities are just opportunities for God to display his strength. His first post was a photo of him in his hospital bed with the caption, "My old life died in that car crash, but God is raising something beautiful from the ashes." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Comments poured in from people around the world who had been inspired by his honesty and hope. Within a month, his new account had gained back 500,000 followers. But these weren't superficial fans attracted to his looks. These were people hungry for real hope and authentic purpose. Jake threw himself into rehabilitation with the intensity that amazed his medical team. What doctors said would take 2 years, he accomplished in 8 months. He regained significant use of his arms and learned to navigate life in a wheelchair with remarkable skill and grace. But the real breakthrough came when Jake discovered adaptive sports. Despite having no previous experience with kayaking, he was drawn to Paralympic canoe racing. His competitive spirit, combined with his newfound faith-driven determination, made him a natural. The young man who once posed for cameras now trained 6 hours a day in the brutal California sun, building incredible upper body strength and technique. His coach, Maria Rodriguez, said she had never seen such dedication. Jake trains like someone possessed by purpose. The results were nothing short of miraculous. Just 18 months after his accident, Jake qualified for the U.S. Paralympic team. At the Tokyo 2020 Paralympics, held in 2021, he won gold in the 200-meter canoe sprint, setting a new world record in the process. But even more impactful than his athletic achievements was Jake's media presence. Major networks began featuring his story of transformation. His motivational speaking career exploded, and his social media following grew to over 8 million people who followed his journey religiously. Jake founded the Purpose Over Paralysis Foundation, which provides adaptive sports equipment and training to young people with disabilities. The foundation has helped over 10,000 young athletes pursue Paralympic dreams they never thought possible. His autobiography, Broken to Beautiful: How God Used a Car Crash to Save My Life, became a New York Times bestseller. He began hosting a television show called Unstoppable that features people overcoming incredible obstacles through faith and determination. The transformation was complete when Jake married Amanda Martinez, a physical therapist he met during his rehabilitation in 2023. Their wedding, broadcast live on social media, was watched by over 3 million people who had followed his journey from broken reality star to inspirational champion. "The car crash was the best thing that ever happened to me," Jake now tells the crowds who pack arenas to hear him speak. "It killed the superficial person I was and gave birth to the purposeful man God called me to be." Today, Jake has won 3 Paralympic gold medals, inspired millions through his foundation, and proved that God's plans are always bigger than our own. This story was inspired by the incredible journey of Brazilian athlete Fernando Fernandes, whose real-life transformation continues to impact lives worldwide. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28. As I finish telling you Jake's extraordinary story, I can't help but wonder, what if the plans you're clinging to aren't nearly as beautiful as the purpose God has waiting for you? Jake thought his purpose was to be a model and reality star. God knew his real purpose was to be a message of hope to millions. Sometimes he has to break our small dreams to birth his big plans. Maybe you're in your own car crash season right now, a moment where everything you thought you wanted has been taken away. What if that's not your ending, but your beginning? What if God is preparing to use your greatest pain as your greatest platform? If this story moved your heart, please like and subscribe. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers. Share this video with someone who needs to know that their broken plans might be God's perfect purpose unfolding. Comment below. What dreams has God had to break in your life to birth his bigger plans? Remember, God's purpose always prevails over our plans. Your crash might be your comeback waiting to happen.